Oh, I just read your comment. All right, we're live for the third pillar in review. If you have not watched the video, of course, I do not want to steal any views, even if it's only a couple. So make sure that afterwards or in the background, you play the video all the way through. You've seen this one or no?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and watch Crash. So this should be a good one. Let's get it going. You guys can hear that, right? We've had problems in the past. I want to double check. Well, I'll just play it. You guys tell me if you can.
Go! Andrew Hiller here, giving you my 100% and completely unbiased opinion on the 2024 Crash Crucible. I create a pyramid for you. Like all good pyramids, you can only go as high as the base is wide. And at the base of this pyramid, at the base of every single pyramid, at least when it comes to a competition, I think needs to be stuck with the programming. The thing that you can become accustomed to when you go to Crash Crucible is every single year they're going to throw something new your way. And this year it was the pill in that workout called Purgatory. There was that sled push, which was kind of unique and different, something that you don't really see anywhere. They had to pick up that pig-looking thing and drive it across the room. They had the drag ropes. And year over year, there are always new things that you can see. And it's things that the athletes can look.
Hey, did I see you? Was that you doing a drag rope on your story?
Yeah.
So I think I get it. We don't have one at our gym. Can you explain that for a second? I think your normal everyday CrossFitter has probably not used one.
No. So, I mean, a drag rope is it just makes it heavier. It doesn't spin, right? Like a normal rope.
Yeah.
So you have to use a lot more forearm. It's super grippy. It's super taxing. But it's not as hard as it looks or may sound. It just fatigues you quicker. And then whatever it's coupled with, like I can't imagine doing that coupled with like pull-ups or anything else that's like grippy. That'd be pretty gnarly. But even worse than that is if anyone's ever used something called a Chronos rope from RX Smart Gear. I would argue the Chronos rope is even worse.
Really? What's that one?
It's like, hey babe, it's like a really, man, I don't know. You'd have to like pull it up to kind of look.
I'll look it up.
You know, honestly,
it
looks exactly like a bike lock, like one of those huge
really?
bike locks that you use to wrap around your bike and secure it.
Dang,
that's what it looks like.
I think I actually know what you're talking about now. That's yeah, that would all expose me because what I found out, I have an interesting problem. I'm the opposite of. Did you ever play basketball or no?
No.
So I'm the opposite of I'm the opposite of ambidextrous. I couldn't use my left hand well. And it comes out in other things too. So like my jump rope, I get away with it. I'm not great at doubles. I can do 50 unbroken, 40 to 50. And then when I start getting tired though, I start to get exposed. My left wrist like doesn't move the same as my right wrist. They gave me what is it? RX Smart Gear, who makes the really fast rope. Is that right? Or
I don't know.
The Evo, you know what
I've always ever used RPM.
Okay, yeah, which is the other big one. So at the games, they made me take two like have you ever seen the little it's the jump rope with the balls, but it's it's short.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so when I did that and they like it was crazy. Like the one side was going really fast perfectly and we suddenly realized the other side like I wasn't even doing it. So I can only imagine that a drag rope and all those other things would just absolutely decimate me because it would expose your weaknesses.
Oh yeah. I remember the first year the first and only year I ever competed at the Summit Games, which at the time was known as the Iron Games. One of the events opened up with a Chronos rope. We had to use that Chronos rope I was just describing. I've never touched one in my life. Wow. And yeah, that thing destroyed me. I couldn't string more than like 5 at a time. So I immediately bought one at the event and went home. I literally practiced with it for 5 minutes and I got it. And I was like, so pissed. I was like, why couldn't I do this at the comp? I was so pissed. Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely fun to watch some things, especially as a fan of CrossFit that I haven't seen before. So I enjoyed that. I've seen a drag rope before. I hadn't seen the pill thrusters.
Yeah, you know, the whole time I was thinking, like, does JR have those like pig sleds at his gym, or did he have to like rent them somewhere?
Yeah, I'm like,
that would be an athlete's playground, man.
Yeah, and then you just like add up the money too. Like I mean, there's not a ton of people there. I know they have sponsorships. You just wonder, like, I'm like, dang, how does he get all this stuff? And I mean, it's great. So I hope the sponsors are paying him a crap ton of money. All right, let's do it.
look forward to. It's like, hey, I'm going to try to compete at the Crash Crucible. What are the new things that I can look forward to? And it's not really something that a whole lot of competitions do. People try so hard to be unique with the way that they put their rep schemes together, and what ends up happening,
it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
It's becoming madness. Nobody knows what's going on. The event is impossible to follow.
Everyone's laughing.
And the simplicity is something also that is just nailed at the Crash Crucible. Very much like the 2020 or maybe it was 2019 CrossFit Mayhem Classic during the sanctionals period of time. All of those things were like 3 runs for time, 10 runs for time, climb the rope, do some double unders. And it's very simple. And the worst thing that you can do as an organization, as a company, as a gym running a competition is make things so freaking complicated. Make it easy to follow. If I were to tell CrossFit Crash to do something, I would have had something a little bit shorter. It almost felt like every single thing was in.
I felt like there were some short ones. Weren't the last? I felt like there were some really short ones. What did you think?
I didn't have any issues
yeah.
with any of the programming. I thought in terms of lengthwise, I thought they were all perfect.
Sure.
The like a great example of what Hiller's saying would be probably applied to something like the Tier Wadapalooza Cup, the one in SoCal. Those events were way unnecessarily too long.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get that. Yeah, no, I thought just from not as much from like a CrossFit purist standpoint, but just like a fan of CrossFit and watching it, they were very entertaining events.
That 6 to 12 minute time domain, which is kind of the hot spot when it comes to fitness, and more on that in a second, the fitness part of it. But with my own bias, I like to see something shorter, not necessarily a max lift. I actually really like that there wasn't a max lift. You'll hear John Young talking on the stream with Bill Grumler about how this is the gymnastics side of the spectrum, where on the other side of the spectrum, you've got the Rogue Invitational. They're a little bit heavier, they've got the strongman stuff, and the Crash Crucible is gymnastics based. But I just told you that I thought it was fitness based. I do think that the Crash Crucible is a very fitness centric competition. I don't think that it's weak. I don't think that it's light. You can't have 365 deadlifts for reps, 100-pound dumbbells for the men, where those were 245 and 70 pounds for the women, and have a light competition. But just from the
Yeah, the 100-pound dumbbell has to be brutal because I picked up something short of 100 pounds and I was doing clean and jerks. And obviously I'm not as strong as those guys, but all I was thinking in my head is, dude, this 100-pound thing would just about freaking break me. I don't mind
it's probably not for them. It's probably not as bad as for you think because like I can do the 100-pound dumbbell and I've used the 100-pound dumbbell in a few Metcons and I can move it relatively.
No, Jan, it was a 75 and it felt heavy.
So I can move the 100 relatively okay. So if it's okay for me, it's probably more of an annoyance for them, especially with what it was paired with, like the ring muscle ups, and stuff. Especially when you saw like Taylor at the end, like touch and going them, like and Colton like putting it down and picking it right back. Like for that, it's for them, it's not that much of an issue. It's more of just an annoyance.
He does move good. Like when Taylor's moving good, like you look at NorCal and like that. I mean, what was it, 305 or 310 his snatch? Do you remember?
It was 315, wasn't it?
Okay, it might have been. My point is, you look at Taylor and you don't think like that somebody's going to be able to, he's going to have such a heavy snatch, but that's like up there, dude. And it's pure form, not power. Like it was, well, I shouldn't say not power, but I just didn't know he could snatch that much, dude. He moves really good.
He brags a lot about his movement and his technique, and rightfully so. He has every right to, because that guy moves. He moves very well. And one of my favorite things to do is to watch how people move when they compete, and he's very fun to watch. Yeah, he's very fun to watch. That's for sure.
I mean, I've heard him say it a million times, but and then I've just seen it like when he is in the zone and doing a workout and other people are falling apart. Like I was just looking at Nick Matthew and like just the jerkiness of the motion with the dumbbells and stuff. And then with Taylor, it's like pretty, dude.
Yeah. It's a little frustrating for me because like the times, like, cause I want to see if I can win some money sometime on the Kill Taylor show. But the only issue is the things that I excel at, he also excels at, which is like, damn, okay. So how am I going to beat him?
How confident are you?
It's got to be a bucket hole. I smashed his ass.
Yeah, that's right.
And actually, I did beat him in the. I beat him in the bucket hole at NorCal, and I did beat him in the ring muscle up Kalsu event. It was like 100 thrusters for time, but every minute on the minute you had to do ring muscle ups. I did beat him by like 2 or 3 reps on that one.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was a brutal one. Heidi, I wish I should figure that out. I would totally take a call at some point. Probably not on this show, but I would. Did you see what they were talking about? Did you see us going back and forth about the workout today against Heidi?
No. So honestly, it's so hard for me to keep up in that.
I
chat
know, right? Don't ever scroll up. You'll end up in. My joke is you'll end up in the. Remember the movie Inception where they end up in like the fourth layer and you're there for like 130 years and you go nuts.
Yep.
All right, let's do this.
The fun side of it, I want to see something a little bit shorter. I think the finale was the shortest thing for the men and the women. Something like 4 or 5 minutes for them. And I just want to see something in the 2 to 3 minute realm. Maybe even 1 to 2 minute realm. Next up the ladder are the competitors. And the competitors in the programming are kind of the things in which the competitions are built. You can't have the competitors without the programming, and you can't have the things above on the pyramid without the competitors. But why do the competitors show up? A lot of those things coincide with the programming. They look forward to the new implements. They know that it's going to be run well. There's this aura about the Crash Crucible that is, if you end up winning the thing, then you're going to end up going to the CrossFit Games in the following year. Probably even having a great season. Jason Hopper is one of the best case points of that. And then it was Austin Hatfield in the next year. And I know that programming competitors on this run are kind of really get lumped together, but just like during the sanctionals, CrossFit Crash is kind of as high a level of a competition as you're going to get, as professional of a level of a competition as you're going to get, and that is why the competitors go. And on the winning side alone, there's 6 CrossFit Games.
So which field did you feel like was more robust, looking at the women and the men?
My girlfriend and I, she was in town during the crash, and we were watching a lot of it, and we found ourselves gravitating more towards the men. I mean, like she wanted to watch the females here and there, but we were both far more entertained by mainly like the battle between like Colton, Taylor, and Chris. It was super entertaining to watch.
I agree. It was probably that, and robust, I just mean more stacked. Basically, I thought the women's field was, I was more entertained by the men too, and that's nothing against the women at all. But when I look back at some of the names and stuff, there are some really good female.
And it had to do.
Brittany wins it. That's crazy.
Yeah, honestly, it had to do with it had to do with the drama between like Chris and
yeah,
Taylor,
it did.
You never see that with the women. That's the issue. It's not that the women weren't entertaining or physically like capable of being entertaining, because it was super stacked as well on the female side. It's just like, with the Instagram posts between like Chris and Taylor, it just made the men far more fun to watch.
That'll be a good one for Olivia. She's got some really good strengths and some really pronounced weaknesses. Isn't she like 18 or 19 or something? I think she just came out of the teen division.
She's done.
A lot of talent, but that'll be that.
Brittany was
like
I was a little surprised to see Brittany win, because
dude,
I remember she didn't do well
small,
at all.
Isn't she?
Yeah, she's very small. She didn't do well at all at West Coast Classic, if I remember. And then she won NorCal not this year, but the last year, and then she ends up winning.
I did not realize that. Okay. So she must at least be sneaky strong for what she looks like. Do you know how long has she been around? Do you know her age? Is she like mid-20s?
She's just another really young buck. I think probably 22.
Oh, really?
23. Oh, yeah. If I were to guess. My girlfriend will comment something. She knows her well if she's in the comments. She used to train. I don't know if she used to train with, I think she used to train with her or like train alongside with her at Bear Republic in San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah, and she would know. She would see Jorge there as well.
Yep, makes sense. All right, let's get it.
Competitors. And then on the men's side, you got 3. I think it's 3, 4. Sam Stewart. And I only expect that number to go up every single year. I think that people are crazy for not going to Crash Crucible. And I told you that every rung of the pyramid is necessary in order for the next ones to work as well. And the next part.
We'll go out in 2 seconds. But does this performance, like when you see something like Nick Matthew in this, does that concern you for whether or not he's going to be competitive to make the games? Or do you think this doesn't necessarily matter for something like that?
I mean, I heard he was dealing with a shoulder issue the whole time. So,
and then Sam Stewart's isn't he coming out of an easier region ultimately?
I'm not familiar with who Sam Stewart is.
He's from Ireland. He made the games in 2021, but no, he did. He made it as a teams and an individual, but I think it's been a few years now. He got knocked out for the box steps. I think he was having a good year though before that.
He was a casualty of that event.
Yes, he had a black square. One of the great outposts. Did you get hit too? I can't remember.
Me? No.
Okay.
No, my movement is flawless.
Has to be the stream. The Sevon podcast crew. The small team. Sevon sitting over in his little cave in California. Sousa cruising across the country to go hang out with Will Branstetter and set up the cameras everywhere. JR making sure that the internet isn't as bad as last year. I think I heard last year that it was like 10% clear and 90% fuzzy, and this year it was 10% fuzzy and 90% clear. That is a massive improvement year over year. Also, professional commentator Bill Grundler came to hang out with John Young, who for the first time in recent memory is bringing commentary with a little bit of flair, a little bit of emotion. And I'm not talking like going to the finish line, yeah! I'm talking genuine fire to the freaking thing.
Go, Lydia! Go, Lydia! Yes,
oh, she's in there.
And John, I know you said at the end of the weekend that all of the negative comments were getting you a little bit.
I'm sorry if I sound short. I'm getting made fun of a lot this weekend. It's starting to get me.
Well, you made it a long way before it started to get to you.
Yeah.
But just remember, even Tom Brady in his first year of NFL commentary is getting bad press as well. There is not one single person on the internet that is going to keep their thoughts and opinions to themselves, myself included.
I wanted to be entertained, and John Young was entertaining. I wasn't critiquing it from a standpoint of like, is this guy a good broadcaster? Like, I think people are trying to compare it to the games with Chase and Bill and other folks, Adrian. It's just, I think it's perfectly appropriate because it's not that type of event, and it was entertaining.
Well, what was he being made fun of for? I never got to catch any of the events.
It's not that he was being made fun of. He was getting critiqued a lot for like being unorthodox, like for cutting people off, for being loud, for critiquing athletes, or saying so and so's trash and stuff like that.
I mean, the cutting each other off thing, like whatever, they do that on the podcast all the time. That's something they could discuss among themselves and work on and do better at.
Yeah.
I personally thought John was great. I thought he was fine.
I did too.
I loved how he kind of had like this whole, like, I don't give a fuck kind of attitude the whole time. Cause I think we were watching,
exactly
the sled push handstand push-up event. And, John Young would straight up say things like, Nick has been trash all weekend. Like he's been like, I like that. I like hearing that honest.
Just because it's not the norm. Like, let's get outside of our own way for a second, realize like this is entertaining. And I think I could be wrong, but I think it really did affect him because he did seem a little bit like down and unenthused, but he got going again. And it was just great, dude. And I thought everybody was really good. Everybody who commentated, and then even Sousa, I don't think I've heard. Well, I guess it makes sense that I haven't heard him commentate a CrossFit event, but I thought he was really good and professional sounding. Like he sounded like a broadcaster. And then right as I was thinking that, he's like, I got to go poop. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I thought
the commentators were great. Like I thought
Bill
Grundler's Bill. He's always been amazing. I thought John Young was great. Yep. He was entertaining. Even Sousa, the time that he kind of popped in there. And usually I'll admit, commentating like that does tend to annoy me a little bit, but for whatever reason it didn't. And I enjoyed it. Like Gus Johnson from like college football, a broadcaster, he annoys the hell out of me. But and I thought John had a bit of a Gus Johnson-esque to him, but it wasn't annoying at all. I didn't find it annoying. I thought it was great.
Yeah, he gets away with it. He's likable. His voice sounds fine. I'm a fan, man. I hope they do that again. Angelo, I saw Angelo pop in, and then Dallin and Hopper, which was all great, by the way. Like, that's just spicing things up. They're adding people in there. Absolutely. Augustus, I don't know Bill at all. I pretty much know everybody. I've at least DM'd everybody, but I have a lot of respect for him as an OG in the game and a professional. He seems to be respected and liked by pretty much everyone. So, all right. Yes, Sousa jacked up on C4 was interesting.
The negativity fuel you, John Young. I've heard it cost up to $100,000 to have good live coverage put onto these events. And I say good, and people still complain about what is good coverage. Oh, we only got one locked off camera at the Masters Games in 2023. Ah! This was phenomenal. I was able to keep up. If you wanted to watch, you were able to keep up. I had 4 people text me this week and telling me that they'd watched more of this competition than they watched of the CrossFit Games this year.
Oh my God.
CrossFit Crash and HWPO got more eyes and watch time and interaction than Go Ruck and Ice Barrel did at the 2024 CrossFit Games. Uh-oh. And none of that is possible without the stream. I don't know about what's next on the pyramid without the freaking stream. You didn't pay anything for the freaking stream. The stream.
It was good. You have to think about it. So if you just come in and you're expecting like, okay, I'm coming to watch this like I would the CrossFit Games, maybe you can find some flaws, certainly. But I'm just thinking in my head, since I have a little bit of the background from watching the Savan podcast and things like that, I'm like, how is this small group of people pulling this off? Like, you need the wires, you need the internet, and they're switching camera views. Like, dude, I was super impressed. I thought it was phenomenal. And when I wasn't actually thinking about the setup and how well they were doing, I was able to actually just enjoy it and be entertained without it being hindered. Yeah, there were a few times that the internet got blurry, but even then I didn't miss anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, they're freaking professionals at what they do. They're
Dude,
the
that's
best
what
in the
we
biz.
need. Like, I think it's the internet with NorCal, right? Like, everybody wanted to see NorCal because there were some good matchups there too. I think I heard that they can't. It's really hard to get the internet down to where the location is. Do you know?
Probably, but I mean, Savan, I remember saying that it was something that they could have done, possibly.
Yeah.
I think it was Blair on the Barbell Spin podcast said that
Yeah.
it's a lot of money.
Okay.
Granted, maybe Savan would have done it for free, but who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
I'm excited
I
for the
don't.
behind the scenes though to come out. It's gonna be funny. Are you there? Am I there? It's not me that's frozen, is it? Am I still here? Because my internet's still going. Grant froze. Sweet. So I'm pulling the show. Let's go, guys. What do you guys want to talk about? Here we go. Mike, you are still here. All right. Awesome. Sweet. I panicked and thought it was maybe my internet. Well, this is lovely. I mean, I thought the whole thing was great. The Crash Crucible, in terms of the stream, I remember last year it was pretty messed up. So, oh shit, there we go. Now he's gone, and now he's back. Talk about groceries. Yeah, doesn't the light fixture behind me look like a bunch of little semen things? I've been told that a lot, that it looks like semen, like sperm, like little sperm things hanging around. Yeah, I was also going to wait for this to get to the P scoring part of the video, but I will say, and I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but I was actually surprised that I didn't see an AMRAP program, because I thought that would have been the perfect time to show off the P scoring by implementing an AMRAP, because then you can kind of see, right? Because typically the argument of not programming AMRAPs in live competition is it hurts the fitter athlete, but that would be the perfect opportunity for it to display rewarding, the fitter athlete in terms of using the P scoring. It's like you don't even know JR. I really don't know JR. 2 seconds and we'll be back. Why did JR mention something about AMRAPs? Help me out here, Augustus. It still hurts the fitter athlete? Really? I mean, what if they just totally mollywop the event and you don't think the point total would matter? Mike, is Matt O'Keefe a douche? I have met. Have I met Matt O'Keefe? I think I did briefly meet Matt O'Keefe when I was in West Coast Classic. Some close friends of mine who I was there with for to watch Rafa, because Rafa at the time was with HWPO, and they all know Matt very well. And so I got invited into the booth and I got to meet Matt. And I'm trying to remember if Matt O'Keefe, Matt Frazier, I met Matt Frazier. I'm trying to remember if Matt O'Keefe was in there. I don't remember. I think he was. I might have said hi to him, but that's pretty much it. JR hates AMRAPs. Well, I guess there goes my idea then. Not even a short AMRAP, like an 8 AMRAP, you think? No? Yeah, Rafa's not with HWPO anymore. He wants to take his fitness to that next step. As you guys know, he's one of my great buddies, and I'll always support him and believe that he will one day make it to the games. And he wanted to start working with a one-on-one coach, but HWPO doesn't offer that to their athletes, I guess, unless you're freaking Amanda Barnhart or, I don't know, one of the top athletes. So he spoke with one of the guys at the that's part of the team. I forget. Maybe his name is Josh or something like that. No, he did not switch to Mayhem. And he actually referred Rafa to Coach L. And so now he's actually working with Coach L with Brute Strength. So he's a Brute Strength athlete. So let's see if the Brute Strength camp is really what their reputation says they are. No, we did not go to Proven. I just said he's a freaking Brute Strength athlete. It's extremely professional. I'm taking this all on my back right now. It's funny because now I can really sense the stress that I don't know how Souza and Savon do this. I'm trying to keep this going for you guys, but I'm running out of content here. Yes, everyone goes to Coach L. So far, he's been living it. He's been kind of sharing some of the workouts with me, and it's crazy. First time taking it all on my second time, Trish. Second time. I've taken it on my back before. It's great. Wouldn't it be funny if I left and then you guys just kind of stared at a blank screen the whole time? You heard Coach Kenneth. Are you just messing with me? Are you really Mexican? Yes, Trish, I am really Mexican, but I cannot speak Spanish very well. I'm trying to learn. Believe it or not, my Lebanese girlfriend speaks more Spanish than I do. Was Matt O'Keefe even at Crash? Augustus, I think we know why Coach L couldn't fix JY, and I could point fingers towards his diet of gallons of Ovaltine and fucking Dr. Pepper. Very Lebanese, not lesbian. Not lesbian. No, Trish, it's not a very Lebanese name. It's because of Jay. Dude, John Young does some pretty big nipples. I will say that. Yeah, I won't lie. When I was listening to that podcast, I forget what they were talking. Were they ranking the female CrossFit game athletes? And yeah, and then when John talked about his diet, I was like, holy shit, dude. Your cardiovascular system and endurance could improve so much just by changing your diet alone. I wonder how he's doing on the TFX qualifiers, though. Do I ever drink alcohol, Trish? No, I do not, actually. I couldn't tell you the last time I had a drink. I could not tell you the last time I had alcohol. Let's see what's happening to... Wow. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Trish, my dream job. Thank you for all these interviewing questions. You're helping making this go. One day I'd love to own my own gym. You know, I've had some amazing opportunities to coach under some amazing affiliate owners, specifically Craig Howard. I worked for him and coached for him for a bit over at Diablo CrossFit. Coached under Matt Souza for a bit, and just seeing those guys operate their affiliates, learned a lot from them, for sure. And one day when the girlfriend retires out of the military, we're going to open up, or at least look into possibly owning a gym, whether it be buying into one, opening one, ideally probably somewhere in Florida. I know that's where she wants to go. Oh, he was there, and now he's gone again.
Okay, that was crazy. Can you hear me or no?
I can't hear you. Yes.
Okay. The lights shut off, like all the computer and the power and stuff, and then my internet was like not booting back up or something. That was weird, but that freaks me out because I don't want that to ever happen again. Okay, we have everything good. All right. Sorry, guys. Let's do this. I wonder who made the first joke about, oh, this is way better now. Probably Augustus.
It's okay. Trish kept it going.
I know. Look, dude, I could, when I kept getting back in as the internet was like doing something weird, I saw you going and I saw them talking to you, and I'm like, dude, thank goodness that Pool Boy doesn't get thrown off by stuff like this. You were just kicking it.
Although Trish, I'm still waiting for the story of how you came back to life.
That's a good point.
Were you buried at the pet cemetery? Is that the story? Let's go with that story. Do you know that story, the pet cemetery?
I haven't heard that one, man.
Yeah, it's that Stephen King novel where like
yeah,
whatever you bury there comes back to life and shit.
Dude, it's so creepy, dude. I remember seeing that when I was like younger as a kid. One of the old ones, I think. All right, got the file up.
The UPO got more.
Where were we? Okay, I think we were right here.
Eyes and watch time and interaction than Go Ruck and Ice Barrel did at the 2024 CrossFit Games. And none of that is possible without this stream. I don't know about what's next on the pyramid without the freaking stream. You didn't pay anything for the freaking stream. The stream was phenomenal. Good job on the stream, CrossFit Crash and the Sevon podcast. Good job. The female interviews. The female interviews are next on the pyramid. Yes, I'm being sexist. Yes, the female interviews were better than the male interviews. How dare you? Why were the female interviews better than the male interviews? I'm gonna tell you why. Because you actually got to hear what they had to say. Never, anywhere on the internet, you actually hear the women talk like this. Freaking Lydia Fish.
We know you're good at handstand walks. Was that your best movement?
No.
Or what's your best move?
You'll find out.
Okay.
Is a band.
Oh, well.
She's got some pep to her. We wouldn't have known that if she hadn't had the...
I did like that, and I did not know that about her. She looks like she doesn't talk a whole lot. That was interesting. Oh, that's a good movie, by the way. Here, we'll take it meta. We'll pull up your own comment.
Oh, shit. That's Inception right there.
Yeah.
Interview on the live stream. Brittany Weiss and Fisa Gaffi after the event finale, talking with John Young and Bill Brundler. Olivia Kerstetter.
Now I just hope I don't have a concussion.
When's the last time you heard Olivia Kerstetter talk? I'm not trying to say that the men's interviews weren't good. All I'm saying is I generally hear the men talk way more than I hear the women talk. I got to know the women. The thousands of people that tuned into that thing are now going to know that Lydia Fish has a fire in her. They're going to know who Brittany Weiss's coach is. And if you also tuned in, you're going to know about what's next up on the pyramid, and those were the races. And the sexism is going to continue, because I think that the men's races were better than the women's races. There's a whole bunch of jumping around at the final day with the women's side, and that was interesting as well. Brittany seemingly had the thing locked up after day 2, but Fee was climbing the leaderboard. Lydia Fish was surprising, although she shouldn't have been, considering I think she finished second last year as well, so she finished second and then third. She's someone you should pay attention to, considering she's 20 freaking years old. So Andrew, why are the men more compelling? Chris Ibarra.
Who is she? You were calling her name in your sleep.
Chris Ibarra. And you can't have a Chris Ibarra without a Taylor Self. Now, it really wasn't that close, considering Taylor ended up beating him about 70 points after it was all said and done. But it kind of felt like a title fight. Colton's over there laying waste to the entire world. He's just showing how fit he is. He's on another freaking planet from these dudes. I sense a Rich Froning-esque, I can't climb up the rope, Matt Fraser-esque, I can't beat Ben Smith in the 2015 CrossFit Games storyline coming with Colton.
Man, that's some big names there. I was actually surprised to hear him say that. A little bit, because you're almost suggesting that he's not just going to make the games, he's going to make some noise. And I think it's possible, but
Colton?
Yeah. I mean, no matter what, I guess.
Are we going to start talking about Colton possibly winning fittest man on earth?
If you want to, I wasn't going to bring it up. What do you think? You think it's possible? It'd have to be programmed right? I mean, there's certain things like rope climbs that just, he can get better, but they're just not going to change.
For obviously the guys like Matt Fraser, Tia Toomey, or like the athletes like Matt Fraser, Tia Toomey, the programming's never going to matter. They're going to always win regardless. But to say like programming doesn't matter to some degree in determining who gets on the podium and who doesn't, I think it'd be a little foolish to say that it doesn't have some effect to some degree. It's hard, man. Like, when it comes
there's
to Colton,
a world in which it could happen. I'll say that much.
To win the games, I'm trying to just think.
I don't think it will, though.
I'm trying to think of the athletes that are now. I mean, I don't see a reason why he couldn't beat the Brent Filkowskis, the Patrick Vellners. Who knows, man? If there's
we'll give that 2 years, and it'll just be age at that point.
Yeah, because he's just on a freaking rampage right now. Like, granted, the NorCal Classic, for example, yes, there were some studs out there, but outside of Taylor and Tudor, in reality, there wasn't anyone that Colton really had to worry about.
But he had a top 20 athlete. I think Ibarra was top 20. I think 20.
It's definitely more impressive to see what he did at the Crash Crucible. I'm still a little hesitant to make too much of it until we see him. I don't know. He's not going to Rogue. Until we see him do it like on an even bigger stage. I think it's just a little too too premature.
I don't think we're gonna, but here's the thing. I mean, we got to think he didn't make the games last year. I think that was a fluke. He's clearly working on things. He's got that fire, and I don't think that's gonna happen again for sure. And it was a shame that he didn't make the games. I would love to see him there. I would also love to see Taylor there, simply because they're entertaining, right? And I think Taylor's got a great shot at it. I'm not an expert, but I mean, he doesn't lie. And when you hear about him saying that he hadn't really given it its proper treatment with everything that he had going on, just with coaching and everything he does, he didn't give it the same time as some other people. I believe him when he said that, because he said coming out of that, I think he said something, I don't want to misquote him, but basically that he barely missed the games, and he has a confidence now because he knows that he didn't even do what he feels is required to make the games, and he was still right there, you know?
Yeah. And then anyone who's ever dealt with like injuries too, especially if you've been competing at a higher level, there's a certain hurdle that you just have to get over in terms of coming back and gaining your confidence in terms of like movement again. Like I've had some, knock on wood, not crazy injuries, but I've broken my wrists catching an elbow on a clean, catching a.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've done that to both wrists, and just the mental fuck that you have to like get over when you are healed and your wrist is okay. Like being mindful about like, okay, I'm starting to get to those heavier loads. Like, do I have that confidence in me to pull it? And I've also dealt with a pec tear, doing ring dips, and it's that same thing. Like, okay, I'm back on a pull-up bar. I'm hanging with no pain, but can I actually do like consecutive pull-ups? So there's that mental hurdle of just getting your confidence back and movement and having confidence that you can move well again. And that was probably just a big hurdle on its own for Taylor. He talked about it. He was nervous about, the open doing those, heavier thrusters at 135. And then even the quarterfinal stuff, he was always nervous about whether his knee is going to hold up or not. And I think he's over that now, and he's got that
I agree.
confidence, and he's not having to worry about that anymore. And that's just only going to make him even more fitter in the long run.
Yep. 100%.
The dude's on a freaking roller coaster, but we have Taylor Self staring down Chris Ibarra.
Now they will pick it up at the exact same time, and they're going to race down to say Taylor making the charge.
Taylor got the lead right now.
Taylor's just out in front of him. Taylor's up just by a hair.
Here we
Taylor's
go.
out about 2 feet. He will get it. 6:39 for Taylor. 6:40 for Chris Ibarra. That was incredible.
That was awesome.
That was and Taylor stares him down as he walks off.
Why is he staring down Chris Ibarra? Because apparently Chris is living rent-free in Taylor's head. I heard Chris's chick was screaming at Taylor on the competition floor. Chris told everybody he was out of shape. Didn't seem like he was out of shape, but finally.
Okay. Here's the thing. I'm going to disagree there. Didn't seem like he was out of shape. Yeah, I mean, for him, he was out of shape. He just got beat by two people who he beat or who he made the games over. Let's see. He would have been out of the West. So he was up against Colton. And I get it that some of the events were, better suited for him. But yeah, Augustus is right. Here's the thing. Look, I know Chris. I don't know him well. I texted him after this and I said, hey man, what you need to do is if you win tomorrow, you need to do the same thing. You need to find him and you need to respond. And they said that on the Sevon podcast because it's entertaining. Play into it. Don't like get uncomfortable about it. And he's like, when you just talk to him one-on-one, he's a really nice dude. He talks really well. I do think he probably needs a little work on his trash talk, but I said, like, you got, if Taylor's picking on you, I don't mean he's a bully in a mean way. It's like a character sort of, right? But if he picks you that he's going to bully and you're going to become his motivation suddenly and he's staring you down, now, if you win tomorrow, you better do something. You know what I'm saying? So I liked what he did. I thought he didn't do bad, but like, I almost wish there would have been no moment on the microphone. I like him just sitting there and waiting until he looked back at him. And then if it would have just cut at that, I almost would have liked it better. But
dude, if Vindicate doesn't jump on, like the moment that Taylor did that,
that's what I was thinking. Same thing.
If the moment that Taylor did that stare down on Chris Ibarra, the very first thing that popped in my head were like Austin 316 shirts as a kid. And if he doesn't come out with like a Taylor 316 or a self
Yeah.
316 with that skull on the back, or even like something like that old,
he could have like the shadow of
or
that
like have
the
Taylor's
stare
face like
down.
that.
That's
Yeah, that would
awesome.
be
There's so many good ideas that could come from that.
because even in the comments, like everyone was putting like a Stone Cold gif and all that stuff.
Yeah. The only thing in the end is like, look, he said, I can't confirm or deny that his girlfriend was yelling things. People say that she was, so fine, maybe she was. But
Dude, who cares if she was? That's awesome.
I know, right? Yeah, I know exactly. I wouldn't want. Yeah, no, I love it. In the end, the thing is, like, I like all that. You can do all that. I know that it seems like Taylor can be emotional. He seemed genuinely like kind of pissed off when they were both on the mic. I don't know if that's the case or not, but as long as at the end of the weekend, I do think there should be a mutual respect there. Like, that was a good race right there. It was a fraction of a second. You took him at the end. You can do that stare down. That's awesome. I just think that at the end of the weekend, even if you don't love each other, shake hands and say, hey, good race. And then if you don't like each other, just walk away, you know? Kenneth, I'm curious you were there. So, you should comment what it was like, if you saw any friendliness, or if it genuinely seemed cold, or if you weren't cold enough, or if you weren't close enough, or, to hear it and see it and to kind of gauge the chilliness that was happening there.
Do you really think Taylor doesn't like Chris?
I don't know, because I don't know Taylor. I don't know. What do you think? I'm curious.
No, I don't think. I think he's fine. I think he's fine with Chris. I think he was just getting into the competitive moment.
Yeah.
I think knowing the scale of people that Taylor doesn't like, there's like Mike Halpin. So I'm always measuring his reaction towards people based on his reaction towards Mike Halpin.
That's a good point.
It's clear he does not like Mike Halpin. And so his interactions with Chris was nowhere near the level of his hatred towards Mike.
Yeah,
Halpin.
like when he genuinely dislikes or even hates someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree. I like it.
Outside of the minimal Roman Krennikov drama that we get, oh, he shoved me, Jeff Adler, he shoved me, ah! We actually had some people throwing punches, and that's why the men's race was cool and earns that spot on my little tower here, pyramid freaking thing. What's up at the top of the pyramid, Andrew? What's up at the top? I'm gonna tell you what, it's the P-score. What is this? Love it or hate it, the P-score is freaking great. You love it or hate it, I think it's great. I love it. And I can't stand that people don't understand what it is. It's so freaking simple. You have a whole bunch of people go and do one thing. The better you do compared to the people who did the thing, the more points you get, upwards of 100. The best person gets 100. And if you do terribly compared to everybody else, you get less points. It makes sense to do more. The best example of this in competitive CrossFit history, I think, would have been Matt Fraser doing Friendly Fran. This is something that would have made so much sense in the online format. I don't know if it really works with all these people. It probably works with all these people. But when Matt Fraser does Friendly Fran in 3.5 minutes and everybody else does it in 4, and it's not just everybody else, it's like hundreds of thousands of people do it in 4 minutes. They're all at 4 minutes, and he's 30 seconds ahead standard deviation wise. There's like 4 standard deviations before. He's gonna get 100 points, and everyone else is gonna get 60 points or something like that. That's a 40-point gap, where in conventional scoring, it would have been a 4-point gap. Wow. They're points that Matt Fraser earned because he's fitter than everybody else. 30 seconds fitter on a 4-minute workout. What don't you understand? And it works the other way too. If everyone's finishing in 4 minutes, you have 1,000 people who finished in 4 minutes, and there's 1,001 competitors, and Matt Fraser's the one who finished at 3.5 minutes, and you are watching this, and you do Friendly Fran, you do it in 8 minutes, you're gonna get negative 60 points. Why? Because you freaking suck at Friendly Fran, and the P-score is going to give you the points that you deserve. That's for every.
I can't remember the weight on Friendly Fran. I watched them do it, the online, and I saw just Fraser destroy it. But do you remember the weight?
It was either 115, maybe 115, 135.
I think it was 135. Yeah, somebody else will see.
That.
Which 135 makes it absolute. Was it? Do you remember if it was chest to bars too or no?
Had to have been.
Yeah. Whatever it was, when I watched it, I just remember thinking 115. Okay. Timothy, if you know, let me know if it was chest to bars or if it was what else was different about it. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, dude. On that workout, that's a huge difference. And I think it's funny because I suck. I would get more than 8 minutes.
Yeah, it was three rounds of 21 and 21 chest to bar.
21. Okay. Oh, that's right. It was 3 rounds of 21, right? Because I remember watching them break it up at that. Holy crap, dude. Yeah, that's a brutal one. And that score is just insane when Fraser did that. And I like the P scoring.
Dude, I liked it a lot, and I kind of brought
Yeah.
it up when you went frozen and went bye-bye.
Yeah.
I'm still very curious. Like, at the chat, people in the chat kind of slapped me around a little bit for it, but I'm still very
Sure.
curious and would have loved to have seen an AMRAP implemented at Crash because of the
Yeah.
P score. Because the argument has always been that AMRAPs hurt the fitter athlete in normal competitions, but in a competition where home runs are rewarded, even if even if you do like kind of really mess yourself up in an AMRAP, but if you're beating everyone else by like 3 rounds in an AMRAP,
Yeah.
shouldn't theoretically you be rewarded well enough for it
Yeah.
to matter? So I'd be very curious
Yeah.
on, because I know, like, I forget who was it. Augustus said that JR just hates AMRAPs in competition settings. So I'd be very curious to hear his thoughts on implementing AMRAPs in a competition with the use of P score.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And I think it adds some strategy too on the athlete side. I was trying to put
Yeah, because I
myself in
mean,
their
like, for
shoes.
for
Yeah.
example, there was a competition I did around my area, big cash prize, and one of the events involved handstand push-ups, and it was an AMRAP. And I, being like, handstand push-ups are literally my goat move. Like, whenever I see him at a
Yep.
competition, I'm always like, okay, well, who's going to get second? Because I'm winning this event.
I
And
like it.
I remember I could have literally skipped a round and I would have won the event easily.
Yeah.
But I still only get, like, I beat second place by like over 40 reps.
Yeah.
But they still got the second place point, and I still got the
Yeah.
first place point, which
Yeah.
was meaningless. But so I'm very
Yeah.
curious, like, how much P score would have, like, put me ahead of the second place score
Yeah.
in that situation.
Yeah. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it some other places. Even a
Yeah,
hybrid of some sort.
yeah,
I like it.
Augustus, I'll probably pop in and ask him about that.
Yeah. That'd
On
be great.
Shut Up and Scribble.
I'd love to hear that. All right, let's finish this up.
Everybody who said, I don't know why I won or lost or did this on the P score, like, there you go, figure it out. Oh, I suck at this. I did really bad. I got negative points. I gotta get better at X, Y, Z. But that is my pyramid. As I said, this is an unbiased, completely unbiased take on the 2024 Crash Crucible. Congratulations to the podium people. And it's about freaking time that the men got paid more than the women. If you didn't know by now, that's a freaking joke, you dummies. Andrew Hiller, out.
Hey, what's funny, I'll admit that
yeah.
threw me off too when I saw the podium photos, and I was like, why are the men? I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, the men are getting paid more than the women. I was like, no, there's something I'm missing. I gotta be missing something. And I was, somebody filled like, somebody else commented on it, and someone answered accordingly. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Did you see JR's response? It was like so measured. P score is good for a room, but that doesn't mean it makes a solid competition style workout despite the scoring.
I think it definitely would have to be an appropriate, like, AMRAP. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like,
I just feel like if anybody could do it, JR could.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're not going to program it like a 15 or a 20-minute AMRAP, right? Like, still, the fact, was it the games that programmed Mary, right? The 20-minute AMRAP one year that Noah won, and what's the Carrie Pierce, right? I think it was Mary that they programmed one year at the games, and it was a 20-minute AMRAP.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I still think, like, even with P scoring, that's very aggressive to program an AMRAP of that length.
Yeah.
But I mean, shoot, if you can implement like a
2019, it looks like
8 to 12-minute AMRAP in a competition setting.
Yep.
I think it's doable.
I agree.
With P scoring.
Yeah, the men brought in more money. I mean, maybe, but it doesn't matter. It was good. And
hey, I've always been curious about, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I've always been curious about, at the end of the Hiller videos, because I never thought about it one time until my girlfriend and I were watching a Hiller video. Yeah, all this. What is all this?
Here's what I know now. This guy right here, his name's Shia LaBeouf. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I know who. Yes.
So okay, this is when he started Hiller Fit, essentially. So You've got Alexis, you see there's the first member, right? These are all the members and where they started. Like Natalie Heading, I think she's really good. I know she's good because I see her scores. I think she's the one who made semifinals.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
So
I
if
don't
I were
know
to
if this means,
subscribe to, if I were to
well,
subscribe to his programming, my name would be included on the
here's
end of
the
his
thing.
videos.
You would think, right? Oh, it's over. I cut it off. But I'm not on there, and there's a reason. I think there's no 2024 yet. So I think next year, most likely, if I had to guess, he will change his credits and have everybody who was there in 2024. I do not know if all of those people are still members or not. If they are, he's making bank. I feel like I added it up once. I didn't like really add it up, but I sort of like gave it a rough estimate and was like times $30. What if I probably takes this much? And I'm like, dang, between that and the YouTube, not bad. I don't know if it's everybody who's been a member. I would guess they're all current. Like the Facebook page has like 500 people. Yeah,
That's pretty cool. I never knew that. I always wondered what those names were. Because I was
I
like,
think
wait,
it's cool
isn't he
too.
the only one that does the videos?
Yeah. What do we think? What's the guess here before we get out of here? Do we think there'll be another Hiller video this week?
I don't know. Let's think about the topics surrounding the maybe if we're lucky, he'll make a video on the the shit that what's the Tonto and Lone Ranger podcast, because they've been talking about the Lazar investigation.
That's true.
Yeah,
We
maybe
could, we could get
that's
on
the most
anything.
that's the most relevant thing I would think he would make a video on.
I just want more Tanner Shuck. Like I know it's played out, but let's just get more Tanner Shuck. Just go on a rampage. I think it was so funny. He was like talking about money grabs, and like all I ever get blasted with are his stupid ads. Like I'm looking for 3 committed men. Like,
dude, I get those ads too now.
I know.
I comment one thing
One time
on his video, and now
and
I'm
it's
getting
like,
those
dude,
ads
you're
all the
talking
time.
about money grabs. You're the one with the cheesy freaking
And it's
ads,
like,
dude.
And there's like a clothing Barbell Cartel, I think he's sponsored by clothing company.
Yeah.
And so that ad popped up on my Instagram once, and it was Tanner Shuck kind of talking about the clothes.
I
And
saw that too.
I remember I left a comment saying, I would buy a pair if Hiller wore them or something like that. Yeah.
No, it's not just that too. I saw him in an ad for this is the hilarious thing. He always talks about being natty. I believe him, but I saw him on YouTube for an ad for TRT Nation.
Nice.
It was hysterical. I don't know. It might have been old. I don't know what it was. I don't want to slander the dude. All I know is it said TRT Nation. Maybe I don't know what it was, but it was him and TRT Nation, dude. So that dude, I heard from somebody else too. I can't confirm it, but somebody who knows him, who's done competitions with him, said he still does CrossFit. Like he still trains CrossFit.
Dude, if you do high intensity interval, like, constantly very functional movements, you're doing CrossFit.
But like he's still doing ring muscle ups and like all that stuff, like the stuff in the ad is what I heard. I can't confirm that. But if that's the case, it's like, dude, just chill out. Like sign up for the open.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. All right, guys. Well, I'm sure we'll do this again. Hopefully we'll get some more entertaining Hiller videos. They always seem to be entertaining. I appreciate you, Pool Boy, as always. We will get out of here, and I hope everybody has a good rest of their day or night, whatever the freak it is. Later, guys.
Peace.